What's up, traders? This is Vee Trades, and today I will be doing a technical analysis breakdown for MicroStrategy Incorporated with the ticker symbol MSTR. I will first be going over what I see in the daily chart and finish the video off with the weekly chart. This video is for entertainment purposes only. Please trade at your own risk. Here we have MicroStrategy again, just a small drop today with earnings report estimated to be coming out. Well, most likely it will probably come out end of today. So we'll see what happens there because price has been consolidating for a while now. You can see that we have a downward sloping trend line off the 3 swing highs and then an upper sloping trend line off the multiple swing lows, converging at a point. And then at the point, we have a small yellow box known as a range, and price has been consolidating in that range for the past week now. So more than a week, price has been consolidating. We did see a big breakout right here, but this was just like an error. You see that price closed back in the box. So this was just a little outlier. It's not really that big of a deal. So in the data set that can be ignored, you see that price is still just chopping in a very tight consolidation pattern for about several trading days, and it's been converging basically since late December to early January. So it's waiting to break out. We'll see which way it breaks out. I don't think the earnings report will probably take the price towards these measure move targets. So the bullish target is at the 424 level. The bearish target, if we break down, is the 240 level. I don't think the earnings report will take the price to either measure move target directly. It might take it. It might be a catalyst to sell the price lower or higher. So I'm not expecting a gap up to get there or a gap down to get there. I don't think that's likely to occur. It can occur, but I don't think it will. Most likely, it'll just be a catalyst for which way we're probably going to continue a trend for the next couple of weeks. So if we do break down lower, it could fail. Sometimes you break down lower and trap a bunch of shorts and then reverse the price higher. Vice versa. Sometimes you break out higher, trap a bunch of longs, and then reverse the price lower. Something like that can also take place. But either way, let's take a look at what happened since the past 3 earnings report. So we have this first vertical line on the right side. That's the most recent one coming out. And let's analyze the previous 3. So here's the previous 3. The vertical line is right after the earnings report took place, after the market close into the next trading day. So you see that next trading day, price opened lower and it traded on lower, but then it marked a bottom and price saw a nice rally higher. Same thing for the next earnings report. Price did drop down momentarily for the first couple of days after the earnings report. And then what do you know? This was a bottom that led to a massive rally. Let's take a look at this earnings report. Price dropped down lower momentarily for the next couple of days, and then it rallied strongly out of there as well. So we have 3 times price dropped down lower for the next couple of days, marked a bottom, and then we saw a strong rally. So are we going to see something similar where we do trade down a couple of days, mark a bottom, and then see a strong rally? I wouldn't deny it. I mean, that's what the price is kind of alerting to me as well, that most likely if we do see lower prices, again, it would just be short term. The long-term trend is still bullish. And let's take a look at one more earnings report, which will be a big surprise to most people. Let's take a look at this one right here. This one before the last one I just did, the April 30th one. Technically came out April 29th last year. So this one right here, the prior one in February 6th, basically 1 year ago. Let's mark that with a vertical line. So it came out February 6th after market close. So let's put a vertical line the day after on the 7th. And look what happened. It marked a bottom and led to a massive rally. So are we going to see something similar? Again, I'm not like one of those pumpers or anything, but I'm looking at the chart. And this led to a 294% gain from that earnings support to the high. Now, if we get that from, let's say we do drop down lower, maybe to the $300 level, and then we see a massive rally, 294%. How high is that going to go? 294% is about right about there, $1,200. Right around $1,200. So are we going to get that? We'll have to wait and see. But I was expecting $1,500 anyway before probably summertime. So overall, let's see what happens. Expecting it to break out very soon. And we're going to have a answer after tomorrow. So we'll see which way this thing wants to go. So, I mean, most likely, it's just a guess at this point. It's honestly just a guess. I don't think anyone knows. It's kind of equal in either direction, except in the short term, you could say it's kind of equal in either direction. but bulls have the prior trend in play, the long-term uptrend. So there's a macro uptrend in play that the bulls have working for them. So we'll see what happens, but sometimes that doesn't have an influence on the short-term price action. Sometimes you'll see this continue to drop down lower and then eventually bottom out in reverse. Or maybe we have seen the top right over here and we're going to see price roll over. Highly, highly unlikely, but always something to be aware about. You can't be 100% certain on these things. This could have been a top right here. I say like a 2% chance. But that's why you don't go all in, right, on the stock, in my opinion, because this could have been the top right here. I think very unlikely. I think we will see the $1,500 target this year, probably by summer. If we have a stock split here and there, it doesn't matter. Just think of it in terms of market cap. We're going to probably quadruple or 5x from the market cap. And that's all I see on the daily chart. Next thing I want to cover is MicroStrategy. What is the MicroStrategy? It's a pioneer in Bitcoin ownership. There's a bunch of other companies, as you can see here, that own Bitcoin on their balance sheet. MicroStrategy, one of them, Mara, Riot, Hut 8, CleanSpark, these mining companies, Tesla, Coinbase, Block. So you have all these companies right here have Bitcoin on their balance sheet. And now look at the count of how many Bitcoin MicroStrategy has. 471,000. And let's look at second place, Mara, 45,000. That's more than a 10x multiple from the next person or next company holding Bitcoin. So 10 times more Bitcoin than the second place leader. And the second place leader has 2.5 times more than the third place. So, I mean, no one's catching up to MicroStrategy at this point. So they're a pioneer. It's kind of similar to like Tesla when they were making electric cars. They were basically the only company, well-known company doing that, and they were struggling. And eventually, all the other companies started trying to catch up, right? Like Toyota, Ford, Chevy, you name it, right? They're all just trying to play catch up at this point because Tesla is the pioneer. MicroStrategy is the same way. It's a pioneer in Bitcoin ownership. A lot of companies are going to start doing what MicroStrategy is doing, and they're already doing it, but not in terms of that scale of MicroStrategy. Eventually, they probably will, and you're going to see like a race of practically every company eventually having Bitcoin on their balance sheet. The later companies, the bigger ones, they'll probably be the last ones to adopt it. That's just how technology works. It usually favors the people on the bottom. So that's why MicroStrategy, a zombie company for 20 years, why did they start doing this? Because they had a need to do it, right? Apple, Microsoft, Google, they don't really have a need to do it. They don't really care. Eventually, they probably will, but they'll probably be the last ones to do it. That's just how it works. Just like El Salvador was the first country or one of the first countries to adopt Bitcoin, and you don't have the major countries doing it: France, Germany, Japan, United States. Why? Because they have it's more necessity for them to do it than larger companies. Same thing for companies as well. So again, it's a pioneer in this market space. So let's take a look at the weekly charts and let's go ahead and remove all the drawings. Again, I like to look at the log scale. I think we're going to probably pierce this EMA like we have done in every pullback, looking at the log scale. So every pullback in this entire uptrend has slightly dipped below that EMA, every single one before rallying, even this small one right here. So again, it happened multiple times: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and now we're probably going to get the 8th time. Slight push below the EMA and then a rally from there. So that tells me that the bottom is close. Again, based on prior history. Again, I'm just going off of what I can use, which is past history. Once price went below that EMA, it was barely there, and it led to a strong rally. Look at that. Barely below the EMA, barely below the EMA, barely below the EMA, a couple of weeks, barely below the EMA, like a couple of weeks to multiple weeks, maybe 4 or 5 max, and then we saw a rally take place. So again, looking very bullish to see a bottom shortly, probably sometime this month, and then the next leg up. Another thing I want to look at is I was playing around with TradingView yesterday for a little bit, and I noticed that they do have a trend line angle measurement. So that's really cool. So let's take a look at this angle right here. So that's about a 22-degree angle. And then price went inside of a steeper angle of attack. It's about a 27 now, which is not even that steep at all. So again, the angle is getting steeper and steeper. So let me go and adjust this because I messed with the zoom. And now let's say we're probably going to get the next angle. So if it's from right now, that's the 42. If it's a little bit lower, maybe like the 30s, 36. So this tells me that we're still early in the trend. So let's just say we start right now, which is probably unlikely, 42. And let's say we go lower, probably sub 40, which is pretty early in a trend. Now let's go back to the previous MicroStrategy bull market right here in 2020. So I had this massive run up. Let's measure these angles. So the first one was about, this was the steep one right here, 15, the first one, using the wick. And then next one was about 27. So we haven't even hit 27 yet. Then we have about, I would say probably this one right here. This one is about, 50. And then we went to have a steeper one, about 67. So again, you can see how it's getting steeper and steeper. 15, 27, 50, 67. And now where do you think we are? It looks like we're kind of technically like right around here before we see the more aggressive trends develop. So overall, it's still pretty early in the trend. This is moving at a healthy angle, not that steep, not that shallow. Again, like 29. And then we have another steeper one, 34. And then possibly 49.50. So we could be going to that final angle. Might be a little bit lower, maybe 45. So again, looks to me that we're kind of like right around here in terms of developing the sharper angle, right around here. So that's what the trend tells me. It's very important as well because a healthy trend is about 45 degrees, and the S&P 500, it normally trades at 45 degrees, and that can continue for a long time. Any other type of volatile stock has extreme angles, and that's unsustainable. So again, every chart has a different personality to them. MicroStrategy is going to be one of those volatile stocks with extreme trend angles. So we haven't even seen extreme trend angles yet. There was a little short-term one right over here. And that was about, 70 degrees, 69, 70. But it's still, I think still we're going to see the more than that. I think this is still early to say, because obviously we've seen multiple one of those. This one right here was about 70, and the trend also continued higher. That was like 80, and the trend continued higher. So I still think we haven't seen the macro higher angles yet. We've seen the short-term higher angles. Just like over here, we'll probably see short-term higher angles, but I haven't seen the macro higher angles yet. So we've seen this one right here. That's about 32. And then the next one, about 38, 40, 39. And let's say we're going to get to the next one. The highest one right now would be 52. I mean, 52 is not that strong. And then maybe we'll get to another one right here. Probably it's 70, something like that. So, I mean, we could see the price get obviously steeper and steeper as the trend develops. So all I have for MicroStrategy and daily weekly charts. We'll see what happens on these earnings reports. Just have to wait and see. Most likely I'll give you guys an update tomorrow. This is Vee Trades, and thank you for your time.